Hello, 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 and welcome to the Ball and All a podcast. My name is Mpho, and this is your basketball podcast that covers you from a weekly perspective of all things happening in the basketball world. Right now, we're in the midst of the NBA Finals. Team USA is setting itself up for the Olympic Games, and everyone else around the world is also trying to do that as well, trying to get to Tokyo. There won't be fans at the Olympic Games, so that's going to be quite disappointing. But most importantly, what this is actually is an NBA Finals recap. We had game 2 yesterday, and game 2 resulted in the Suns beating the Bucks 118-108. It's a 10-point difference, but it was a lot closer than that. And that's what I'm going to be recapping today. So let's just get straight into it. But before we do that, please do follow me on Twitter at Mpho. I'm currently live on Twitter right now. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Ball and All YouTube channel, and like the video as well. So I'm going to be doing these recaps after every game of the finals. And so now the interesting thing about this game was that everyone was expecting the Bucks to come with a punch. Like, you know, as a heavyweight boxer, you kind of lose the first round. Well, not kind of. You lose the first round and you want to come back in the second round. You want to throw haymakers. And that's what the Bucks did. The Bucks came back. They adjusted quite well. Everyone's talking about Bud not making adjustments. He's made quite a lot of adjustments, more than he did in the previous series. This time, they protected the paint. They were very assertive on offense in the paint. The Bucks were going downhill a lot. Giannis was going downhill a lot. I think in the first quarter, Giannis he was at about 10 points in that first quarter. And then the Bucks, true to form, the best first quarter team in the playoffs. They were plus 15 in the playoffs throughout. They won the first quarter by 3, even though they did such a good job being going downhill and also preventing the Suns from going downhill. The big problem about game 1 was that Booker and CP3 were able to just drive through the lane. This time they weren't allowed to. But what happened with the Suns is that their three-point shooting came alive. Mikal Bridges was shooting well from 3. Jay Crowder, who missed 8 shot attempts in the first game, was shooting well from 3. And it just escalated from that as everything the Bucks, and that's how this game went, everything the Bucks threw at the Suns, they always came through, to the point where Giannis had the best game of his playoff career. I think he'll admit that. He's got a 40-point game, 40-point double-double with 12 rebounds, 42 points actually, and it wasn't enough to beat the Suns. And normally, if you tell me Giannis scores 42 points, I would tell you, oh man, the Bucks won. But this time they didn't. And largely was because of the way in which the Suns came back. The Bucks were saying nothing in the paint, everything on the perimeter, and the Suns were shooting the lights out. And it wasn't just dribble. It wasn't like dribble penetration and pushing out. Some guys were spot-up shooters. They moved the ball well. There were open shooters across the floor. And that's a question about their wing defenders. PJ Tucker, Pat Connaughton, to a certain extent, Bobby Portis, what those guys are doing. Because right now, all the Suns are doing is they're coming into the half court. They're cutting, they're screening, they're getting to their spots, and by the time Mikal Bridges gets to his corner, or even Jay Crowder, they already get an open shot and an open look. Devin Booker shot well from 3. He doesn't normally shoot well from 3, 34% normally, but this time he shot 58%, 7 from 12. Chris Paul did his thing with his 20 points, but what it meant was this game came down to the third quarter. Third quarter comes in, Giannis puts down 20 points, the largest point scoring by a player in a quarter in the NBA Finals in the last 25 years. Jordan, I think, got 18. Kobe also got like 17. Steph was like 19 in a quarter, and Giannis is now 20 in a quarter. But in that quarter of 20 points that Giannis scored, the Suns found a way to only lose that quarter by 1. So the Bucks scored 33, the Suns scored 32. The second quarter was where the Suns pulled away, and large parts of the second quarter, DeAndre Ayton was on the bench. They were playing a small ball lineup of Torrey Craig, Jay Crowder, and the guards in CP3, sometimes Cam Payne, Devin Booker, and Mikal Bridges or Cam Johnson. It was a very small ball. The Bucks couldn't punish them, and that's where I think the Bucks could going forward. Even in the third quarter, the Bucks couldn't punish them there as well. And you found a situation where whenever the Bucks put pressure on the on the Suns. The Suns retaliated with a three, an open three. They just had them. The Bucks pick and roll defense was much better today. Brook Lopez played much better. But the one telling stat that's happening now is that the Bucks are winning the minutes with Giannis in. So in the minutes that have been played over this series, the 86, the 96 minutes that have been played, 75 of those minutes, Giannis has been on the floor. The Bucks are +5. In the 21 minutes where Giannis is off the floor, the Bucks are -27. That tells you that they need to fix that portion of their game. So it's not too far gone. And I think the question is that I posed here is, can they bounce back? I think the Bucks can bounce back. They were 0-2 down to the Nets in that playoff series before the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. So that is possible. And as everyone's quoting Pat Riley today, the finals only start once the home team loses the game. The home team has won both their games right now, so they are on serve now. Everyone goes to Milwaukee on Sunday, 3 more days of an extra day of rest, so that's going to be helpful. But what I saw today was that the Suns are a much better team than the Bucks. Yes, they're deeper, but it's a coaching mismatch. Monty's putting his guys in good positions. Tonight, DeAndre Ayton was nowhere. He was nowhere. He was like 2 from 8 throughout the first 3 quarters. He couldn't get a good enough. Every time he got the ball in the paint, there were bodies all around him. He couldn't, like, he set the screen, and as he was going to roll, the ball would pop out, and somebody would put a hand in there. He was getting out rebounded by the Bucks, and to a certain extent, he couldn't do much. But in that fourth quarter, he just came with the force. It wasn't about the stats for him in this game. It was about the force that he intended, and he showed that he can stay on the floor even with Giannis. He was a great defender on Giannis, even though Giannis went for 42. He's going to get his own. But I was really impressed with the way DeAndre Ayton played today, even though he wasn't scoring well. He only got 10 points and 11 rebounds. Chris Paul also did quite well for the Suns. But Devin Booker's 31 points. Last game, he was at the free throw line, 10 shots at the free throw line. Today, 0. But his 3-point shooting came through for him. So everywhere in the Suns team, the ancillary, the role players are coming through. The guard play is still par excellence. But the one big thing about this game was that the absence of Middleton, of largely Chris Middleton, because I think Jrue Holiday scoring 17 points. Yes, it wasn't an efficient 17 points, but he was a lot more aggressive today. Chris Middleton was nowhere to be seen. And you need Chris Middleton to at least give you plus at least over 15, close to 20 points for this team to win. Giannis can score as many points as he can, but if he doesn't have help, there's nothing more that you can do. And Chris Middleton's the guy that is paid like a number 2, but is playing like he's a number 3. And it fluctuates. You know, he'll look Jordan-esque one day, like at the back end of the Atlanta series, and then he just looks average. So that's something that I think they need to fix. Some adjustments for game 3 in Milwaukee are 1. They need to keep up the aggression. I've loved the aggression that the Suns had and the physicality that the Bucks had, I beg your pardon, and the physicality the Bucks had today in denying the Suns the paint. So if you look at it, points in the paint, 54 to the Bucks, 28 to the Suns. So they can keep that going. They've got something that they can always rely on and get to. They also can rely on the fact that maybe the Suns shooting does not get as hot as it did tonight. That's the other thing. You know, they were shooting over 50%. The Suns don't normally do that. They are a good 3-point shooting team, but they're not a lights-out 3-point shooting team. So they're going to need to put up some more contested shots on the perimeter. So the perimeter defense needs to be a little bit better for the Bucks in order to keep themselves in the series. The other thing is they need to take advantage of transition. They need to try and get the ball as downhill as possible. Also, Giannis needs to stop these 3-point shots with 20 seconds to go. Even though he's wide open, I'd rather him drive in. I'd rather him create a second chance, reset the offense, get everybody out, and him drive in. He's 1 from 5 from 3. Yes, he got 1, and the other 4 were just hopeless. They were bad. Some of them were bad shots. Yes, Jrue Holiday is also shooting poorly, but the way in which the Bucks are going to win this game is if Giannis goes downhill every single possession and looks to go downhill. They also need to create plays for Chris and Jrue Holiday. So they need to get PJ Tucker, Bobby Portis, whoever's on them, Pat Connaughton, because right now all the Bucks are doing is all those two are doing. PJ Tucker and Connaughton, they just go down to the offensive side of the court, they sit on the wings, and that's it. And then they let the 2 guards play above the break. That's not going to happen. You need to try and get some guys in. If Chris Paul's on you, get Chris Paul in a pick and roll and let PJ Tucker roll, or PJ Tucker create some sort of a get Chris Paul on Drew, or get Chris Paul defending Chris Middleton. But you need to create something for those two that's outside of getting to the half court and looking for Giannis and getting Giannis out of a pick and roll off the ball screen and him getting the ball. Something needs to happen from the Bucks end offensively, and that is them trying to get Drew and Chris into their mode. Chris Middleton had some good shots tonight. He didn't make them. Looked a little flat. His energy needs to be up, but it's not all fair and gone for the Bucks, and the Suns only just need to take one. Win one. Game 5 is at home. You can clean it out. But I think from a Bucks perspective, a lot more adjustments need to be made. I love the fact that they went to Giannis at the 5 a lot longer in this game. I don't know what's going to happen with those minutes where Giannis is off the floor, because they are losing those minutes and they need to find a way. I say because of the Suns having the injuries to Torrey Craig, who got injured in this game, Dario Saric is out for the series. I'd say play second big, keep Brook Lopez there a lot longer, and force them to find another big outside of Jay Crowder. Jalen Smith is there. So if you think about Booker, Chris Paul, and Ayton are playing over 40 minutes each, you need to find a way to get them rest, Chris Paul rest, because he might slow down towards the back end of thing, and DeAndre Ayton. So force the Suns to use their bench. Abdul Nader minutes are going to be quite key in the next game because Torrey Craig is out. See how those work. If the Bucks, because right now the Bucks can't attack the weaker defenders in the Suns. They just looking to Giannis and trying to use Giannis, who's gonna be a mismatch for pretty much everybody outside of DeAndre Ayton, and even then, from a strength perspective, he can still do it. So they just need to try and get Drew Holiday to try and isolate certain guys and certain defenders, and then maybe that's where he can score points, not runs, not cricket, but points. So that's where I think the Bucks need to adjust. The Suns themselves, they just need to hope that this shooting travels, but the resilience, the mental aspect of the game, they are beating the Bucks hands down. They are mentally locked in. Even in moments of pressure, even moments where they were under pressure, especially to start off the game, they weren't shooting that well. They just kept on chipping away, and then the shot started to drop. So Monty's got this team humming, and the role players are coming through, and they're winning games with everybody making an effort. It's not like no one's like out there just being a liability, and that's something that you can bring onto the Suns. I think they're a very good ball club. Lots of great players. I think they are the better team in this series, and we are seeing that for ourselves. Giannis, like Milwaukee paid for a big 3, but they got a number 3 scorer and a number 4 and two number 3s instead of a 2 and a 3. So that's where I think the issues will come through. And so I think for me, that's how they can do it. But obviously it's on serve, so the Suns are running away with it. Let's not get excited. But if they win one of the 2 in Milwaukee, it's a wrap. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. But to win 4 out of 5, they've done it before. The Bucks have done it before against the Nets. However, I don't think against the Suns it's going to happen. But that's why we watch. Like, Giannis can go for 50 if he wants to. And I for one, wouldn't mind seeing a 50-point game from him. He's such a dominant force. It's just he needs help, and it wasn't all bad, but you need Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton to come through. But outside of that, thank you very much. Let's end it there. Enjoy Game 3. I'll be back after Game 3, so that's Monday morning, Monday afternoon, to recap what happened in Game 3. Enjoy it. It's the first one in Milwaukee in like over 47 years. So that's going to be something intriguing to see how I don't know what you call them, Milwaukeeans or people from that state, the state of Milwaukee, handle the first game of the finals in their arena for the first time in 47 years. Giannis is coming home. He's fit. I can't believe he's doing this when last week he had hyperextended his knee. It's just unbelievable. But let's get through it and let's see how it's going to go. I'll be back next time. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Mpho and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Until next time, le sale, kakahiso.